The value of time, a boy's story, kindness story of time. Have you ever wished you could go back and change one small moment in your life? Just one choice. One word. One act of kindness. Sometimes we don't realize the value of a moment until it's gone forever. And sometimes, the smallest decision can change a life in ways we never expect. This is a story about time, time we waste, time we ignore, and time we give. It's a story about a young boy who learned, a little too late, that kindness is not about money or power, but about how we choose to spend our time with others. Before we begin, take a moment to support the channel. If stories like this touch your heart, please subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us spread more meaningful stories here at Kindness Story Hub. Now, let's begin. Ethan was a 12-year-old boy living in a quiet American neighborhood where every house looked almost the same. Neat lawns, white fences, busy families. His parents worked long hours, so Ethan spent most of his afternoons alone, buried in his phone, video games, or watching the clock crawl toward bedtime. He often complained that time moved too slowly every morning. Ethan rushed through breakfast, barely looking up from his screen. His mom would try to talk to him, asking about school, but he'd answer with short words, already thinking about what he wanted to do next. His dad would remind him, "Time is valuable, son." Ethan would nod, but he didn't really understand what that meant. To Ethan, time was just something to kill. On his walk home from school each day, Ethan passed an old park bench near a small grocery store. Sitting there almost every afternoon was an elderly man named Mr. Harold. He wore the same brown jacket, even when the weather was warm, and always carried a small paper bag with him. Mr. Harold smiled at everyone who passed by. "Good afternoon," he would say in a gentle voice. Most people didn't stop. Some nodded. Some pretended not to hear. Ethan noticed him, but never thought much about it. He was too busy checking messages or listening to music through his earbuds. One afternoon, Mr. Harold called out, "Hey there, young man. How was school today?" Ethan paused, annoyed. He pulled out one earbud. "Fine," he said quickly. Mr. Harold smiled. "That's good. You only get so many school days. They go faster than you think." Ethan shrugged. "I wish they'd go faster," he said, then walked away. That night, Ethan's mom asked him to help carry groceries from the car. He sighed loudly, rolled his eyes, and dragged his feet. "Why do I have to do everything?" he complained. His mom looked at him gently. "Because one day, I won't be here to ask," she said quietly. Ethan didn't respond. He went back to his room, closed the door, and lost himself in games again. Days passed. Weeks passed. Mr. Harold was always there on the bench. One day, it started raining hard. Ethan was in a hurry to get home when he noticed Mr. Harold still sitting there, soaked, holding his paper bag close to his chest. Something about the scene made Ethan stop. "Why are you sitting out here?" Ethan asked. Mr. Harold chuckled softly. "Waiting." "For what?" "For time to pass," the old man said. "Or maybe for someone to talk to." Ethan hesitated. The rain soaked his hoodie. "Don't you have somewhere to go?" Mr. Harold nodded. "I do. But this bench reminds me of my wife. We used to sit here together. Now I sit alone and remember." Ethan felt uncomfortable. Sadness wasn't something he liked dealing with. "Well, okay," he said, and walked away. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep easily. Mr. Harold's words stayed in his mind. He pushed them away and told himself it didn't matter, but the next day, he noticed something strange. The bench was empty. No brown jacket. No paper bag. No gentle smile. Ethan felt an unexpected tightness in his chest. The bench stayed empty the next day. And the next day. Finally, Ethan asked the store owner nearby, "Where's the old man who sat outside?" The owner sighed. "Passed away last week." Heart gave out. He didn't have much family. Ethan's stomach dropped. That night, he sat in his room, staring at his phone, but nothing felt interesting anymore. He kept thinking about how Mr. Harold had waited every day, and how he never stopped to really talk. He remembered how annoyed he'd felt. How busy he thought he was, busy doing nothing important. At the funeral, only a few people came. Ethan stood in the back with his parents. The pastor spoke about time, love, and small kindnesses. Then something unexpected happened. The pastor held up a worn paper bag. "Mr. Harold carried this every day," he said. Inside were notes. Notes about moments he treasured. Many of them were about strangers who smiled, nodded, or spoke kindly to him. The pastor paused. He wrote that even a short conversation could make a lonely day feel full. Ethan felt tears burn his eyes. He realized that Mr. Harold hadn't needed much. Not money. Not gifts, just time. After that day, Ethan changed, slowly, imperfectly, but truly. He started putting his phone down at dinner. He listened when his mom talked. He asked his dad about his day at school. He noticed kids sitting alone and chose to sit with them. Not because it made him popular, but because it felt right. One afternoon, Ethan sat on the same bench where Mr. Harold used to sit. He watched people rush by, faces glued to screens, minds somewhere else, and for the first time, he understood time isn't something you spend on things. It's something you give to people. Years later, Ethan grew into a man who volunteered at shelters, mentored kids, and always made time to listen. When people asked him why kindness mattered so much to him, he'd smile and say, "Because I learned what happens when you don't." And sometimes, when he passed that old bench, he imagined Mr. Harold sitting there, smiling, finally not alone. Time is the one thing we can never get back. But kindness is what gives time its value. A few minutes of listening. A moment of care. A small act of attention can change someone's entire day or their entire life. If this story touched your heart, let it remind you to pause. Look up. And choose kindness with the time you have. Because one day, someone may remember you not for what you owned, but for the time you gave to spread kindness. The world needs it now more than ever.